Afternoon. Sorry, I'm late. I've I pressed the stream button, and as I pressed the stream button, the doorbell went, and the removal company came to get all the boxes they'd given us when we moved house. So I've just had to run up three flights of stairs after lugging a load of boxes around. So, sorry I'm late. Market's open. I couldn't have timed that any worse. Literally, I pressed the stream button and the doorbell rang as I pressed it. Anyway, right. So this morning, we're already off, look. What's going on? So this morning, just to quickly recap before we go and look at the news, which there isn't any of anyway, so that won't take long. We basically had, there's my pen, on the DAX, we just basically broke up on the DAX at the open. We didn't go anywhere basically for about half an hour. So I took the 30-minute opening range break to the downside on the DAX today, flip-flopped, We did break down, then we bounced, then we broken down again, and it looks like we're breaking to the downside. So my target basically is yesterday's low for the DAX to take a partial. The FTSE was a stop out to the upside, which is why we got that loss. That came straight down and stopped out, didn't go anywhere all morning. Then we broke to the downside and we haven't gone anywhere all day. So no movement this morning on the indices. So just a small loss this morning. We are obviously on the DAX. So if the DAX goes down to target, that's going to pay for this morning anyway. US indices. Let's look at where we are. God, what a rush. It's the only trouble with living in a house on 3 flights of stairs. If you forget something, it's a hack all the way up to the top to get it back again. Get out of breath. That's why I go to the gym 3 times a week, so I can live in my house. Anyway, afternoon, comfortably numb. Crumb, even. Road. Robert, what's Jack? How we doing? Monday market didn't go anywhere? No. Fletch, afternoon. Inosuke Sato, afternoon. David, how are you? Purge me, got some new names in here today. FTNet. Michael is back. Welcome back, Michael. Mumo, how we doing? And Meh, morning. Right, so 1 bar range basically on the NASDAQ. Too small. No, it's not. It's right, but it closed at the high. So the opening range breakout EA version 3 has a little safety net in it where if we close right at the high on any candle and you are spread over the top, it does not take a trade. So the NAS basically, that was not taken because it closed at the highs there. The S&P range is too small, so no trade on the 5-minute ORB. The Dow is too small, so no trade on the Dow. So we will be taking a 10-minute ORB on the NASDAQ. Possibly a 10 on the S&P. That is too small to me still. Yeah, too small. So no trade on the S&P. Dow Jones looks like we will get one. Yeah, so Dow will be taking the 10-minute ORB today. Same with the NASDAQ, no trade on the S&P. So we'll come back to that in 1 minute or so when that's broken. Wondering whether I should take this DAX off. Is it going to go or not? It's so close to taking a partial anyway. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a partial on it and break even. That way, basically, I've paid for the morning. And we'll see if we can get a break on the FTSE because the FTSE's at break even as well. So, and then obviously I can just play the US indices and see where we go with those. So news-wise today, I covered the news in this morning's live stream. There is none. Today we've got no news. We had overnight CPI for the New Zealand dollar come out 0.1% below forecast, which was already down 3% or 0.3%. So inflation coming down nicely in the last quarter in New Zealand, which gives them the ability to move their interest rates down a little bit further, which should weaken the New Zealand dollar. So potential, we've got short to medium term weakness potentially coming in New Zealand dollar. When it will happen, don't know. Tomorrow, we've got no news either. We've got Bailey and Powell speaking tomorrow, but no scheduled news. Wednesday, home sales, no scheduled news. They don't really tend to do anything. So all week this week, up until Wednesday, there's nothing scheduled in the calendar that's going to move any of the markets. We have then on Thursday got all the PMIs, and then we've also got the interest rates for the euro. So this is the first market moving event of the week, the big one. PMIs obviously move the market a lot, but if you look at all the forecasts this time round, the forecasts are very, very, very close to the previous's. So 0.4% difference, 0.1% difference. The German, you've got a 0.3 there, a 0.4. So the deviations that are forecast are very small, which means that if we get deviations from the forecasts actually on the actual figures, the movement's probably not going to be massive either. So we really need some big numbers to come in different to forecast to actually get any movement this week. We got the press conference at 1:45. That's when you're going to get the movement on the euro happening. So somewhere between 2 to 2:15, you tend to start to see the market get a move going on the euro if there is anything to move for, which we don't know. We'll have to wait and see what Lagarde says. 2:45, 15 minutes after the New York Open, we've got the PMIs for the US on Thursday, and then that's it. We've got retail sales for the pound. So there's potential for movement on the pound on Friday morning. But apart from that, it's everything about Thursday this week. There's nothing else happening. So we are really back-end news heavy this week. It's a bit of an odd one. There's nothing happened this morning, news-wise. So we've got nothing to report from this morning. Nothing's happened over the weekend. So markets are flat at the moment. There's no real reason to drive anywhere. We've got a few ADRs, but nothing particularly exciting. So, right, triggered short on the Dow and long on the NASDAQ. So highly likely one of those is going to get stopped out because it's unusual for them to fly off in the opposite directions. DAX taken a partial, so got a runner on the DAX. And FTSE's broken down. I don't really know what to do with this FTSE today because it is literally going nowhere. Bit of it. I'm just going to shut that FTSE because it's not going anywhere, and I just basically don't want to have to worry about it for the afternoon. So I'm going to run the DAX. Trailing stop will just basically trail down as this goes. That's an ADR from the open, or rather from the break. So if we come and test last week's low today, I mean, and that's going to have to be a hell of a move to get all the way down there. Then yeah, fine. But I think what I'll probably do, that's 700. I'll go for there. I'll go for the propulsion gap, the lower one, as a target for the downside today. So if we get all the way down there, from that high, you're looking at somewhere in the region of 255 points. 300 is ADR. So I'm looking for almost an ADR really to the downside. I think it's going to struggle to get down there today, but we'll see. So that's what I'll do on the DAX. Let that run with the stop break even. And the FTSE, the US indices, we are breaking opposite sides on the Dow and the NASDAQ. No trade on the S&P so far, although that will probably trigger a trade on that 15-minute range now, won't it? What do we got? 889, yeah. So I'll be taking a 15-minute opening range break on the S&P. Those two have already broke. So this morning, we had Aussie, New Zealand, and Euro Swiss as ADRs. These weren't real ADRs. If you look at the price action this morning, that was obviously a broker candle. As you can see, there was absolutely no price action after that. So that was the spread the broker put in this morning, half an ADR. Then we had the news on the New Zealand dollar about these interest rates, inflation coming down. So we had this big spike up. There's no liquidity at the open at New Zealand. So with a big spike up on that news, they have just pulled back and retraced that. So I reckon that'll probably come all the way back down to origin today. But yeah, so there was no real reaction to that New Zealand dollar, which I was surprised about. I thought it'd be bigger and faster than that. Euro Swiss was not an ADR either. It did read as an ADR, but as you can see, it's just a gap fill from broker spread, overnight spread, and over weekend spread. It's gone absolutely nowhere. So again, those two weren't really ADRs today. The US dollar, and pound New Zealand as well. That was also, the other one wasn't a ADR. That was, again, just weird price action at the open. So just tapped up into ADR. I mean, it has come off ADR, but it's only because of that. There's your news spike. No reaction. So the only one we've had today is the US dollar yen. And this is obviously legitimate price action. So we tried to fill that gap at the open. And we've come very nicely down, straight into ADR, look, literally to the pip. If you want a textbook, look at that. Absolute textbook ADR. That's your average daily range. Boing, boing. Reversal alert. Off we go. So there you go. So nice, easy ADR reversal on that one. Reversal alert came in straight off of ADR within 15 minutes of hitting it. So textbook. But yeah, that's all you've got really from a signal perspective. The RSI dash was absolutely flat this morning. We went through every single pair this morning. There's a lot of sideways movement at the moment, obviously. So the only thing you've got alerting at the moment is on the hourly time frame for pound US dollar. That is, I mean, it's not anymore. It's literally just hit RSI 70 level exactly. So it's not a bad little level, that. And it is obviously starting to reverse from it after this big, strong move to the upside. So potential there. You've got 5-minute reversal alert, which has already kicked in. So you went into accumulation. Again, ISM pattern, there's your reversal alert. It'd be nice if it retested that propulsion gap to show some strength. But yeah, there's a short odd on that at the moment. But apart from that, nothing. It's a really, really flat session today. As I say, there's no news. So there's nothing to report today. It's just one of those, it's going to be one of those weeks where it's going to take some news, some serious news to actually move this thing, because there's just nothing until Thursday. Right, so we've broken up to the upside. Why did we not get on that? Spread just about. That spread must have just about been over the line, unfortunately. End of the world. On the NASDAQ, that one will probably stop out if we're going to rally today. So we've broken along on the NAS. Let's see where we're off to. Right, so NASDAQ, we're moving out into new territory. There we go. So we're off into all-time high territory now on the NASDAQ. So yeah, upside, sky's the limit. Basically, this is obviously a nice clean break to the upside. We'll see how far we can go today, but yeah, let it run basically. Dow Jones downside today. So the gap fills on from Friday to the downside on the Dow, but I'd be very surprised if the Dow can break short while the NASDAQ's breaking long. Might be able to, but as you can see, we're just kind of flip-flopping around at the moment. So this is probably your best break at the moment. That's the last sort of 15 minutes, basically. Whichever way that goes probably will be the order of the morning, but that's the logical thing to do, is just come down and complete that unfinished business on the gap fill today, which I think it's trying to do, but there's not really much you can do when the NASDAQ's breaking so strong today. It's not going to make it easy for the Dow to drop. S&P, I think we're not all-time highs S&P either, are we? Are we? Well, that was a bit lower. Yeah, no, this is all-time highs on S&P as well. So yeah, we're broken out all-time highs on the S&P after that 2 weeks of indecision. Yeah, we finally broke up last Thursday into all-time highs. Friday, we pulled back from it, and we're having another go this morning. So potentially you could be looking at a nice trend day as we break out into new territory. Dow Jones has got a long way to go. So there's ADR for the Dow today. So there's a long way to go. Sort of 125 ADR is when we're going to achieve all-time highs on that. So there's plenty of room upside on the Dow today. But we'll see if it breaks. Holding back, isn't it? Doesn't want to go up, the Dow. Michael, I took mine off. Needed the margin for the US session. Yeah. If you're tight on margin with your broker, then it's worth taking off. It's worth taking off this morning anyway. It's pulling back now. Look. FTSE's gone down a little bit further. So that was the wrong decision on the FTSE, but I get the feeling we're going to bounce down here. If the US markets are going to rally today at all-time highs, the European markets will get dragged along with them, because there'll be sector purchases going on in the indexes, which will affect these as well. So they will both rally if the US market does rally this afternoon. But all-time highs are always very, very tricky, because a lot of the time when we try and make all-time highs, the market hasn't got enough legs in it. It fails. it either tends to fail or it runs, and it really runs. So we've either got a nice big strong breakout on our hands today, which will go on for an ADR, or it'll fail and just kind of flip-flop back down, in which case then the Dow will probably be able to do that downside break. But so far, it's holding up. Good movement. So if anybody's got any FX pairs they want to look at, let me know, because I went through everything this morning in the live room. I went through every pair. So if there's anything specific you want to look at, let me know and I can have a look at it. But there's not a lot to report today because it's Monday. There is no news. It's a bank holiday in Japan. And Trump, so far today, has been quiet. Market's not moving. How's the house coming along? Very well. It's coming along. It will be coming along for a while, probably for the next 6 to 12 months, which is what you tend to do when you move house. The other thing about moving into a new build property as well is you don't have that ability to just come in and start decorating. It's basically white walls everywhere because you've got to let the house breathe and dry out for 12 months. So we can't decorate. So you kind of have to just put color where you can. And unfortunately, the house we came from was very minimalist, lots of white furniture. So we've moved into a house with white walls, and now we've got white furniture as well. So we basically are an advert for the white stuff. But it's coming along. As you can see, my office is just still got ladder tip at the minute. Anyway, right, Aussie dollar, US dollar. So look. So that's your 3-week high and low. That's your 2-week high and low. And then that's last week. So last week we made a big downside move, mainly because of that Australian dollar. They did not change their interest rates as we were expecting them to, and we got a bit of power in the US dollar as well. So to me, I think probably slight continued strength in the dollar will bring us back down into this area here. So market structure, we covered this one this morning actually. Market structure, there is your break to the downside for market structure. It looked like we were going to pull back and drop, and then it continued back up to a double top, and then we collapsed down. So you got high, low, double top, lower low. That's your lower high. But we could come up into here, and then we will probably find we add out of there and come back down to test these areas, or it might be it. We're just going to pop down from there, but I'd rather be shorting than longing at the moment on this. There was a long opportunity last week on Thursday, but I mean, it was just about, literally just about. Didn't quite get up to the propulsion gap, so yeah, I'll be looking at moving back down into those areas down there. So that's your previous month's range. And then this month, we've basically attempted a breakout high and failed. And then we've attempted another breakout high and failed. So the upside auctions are failing, meaning that they're probably going to test the downside to see if we can break to the downside. So more likely coming back down here because we can't go high. Can't go long, likely to go short unless something changes, obviously, i.e. a fundamental changes the directional bias. Okay, stopped out on the Dow. As I said, it's unlikely we'd be able to break to the downside with the markets rallying. So this will break to the upside now. So we'll take that long. So annoying it didn't get on the S&P. That 3-bar range there. So it says 3-bar range, no good. The size of the range is fine. So the range size there is 900 and something. But it's just where the market closed. So as the market closed, there you can see we just gapped up. So we closed here, we gapped up, And as we gapped up, the spread would have been over the highs, which means the EA basically detects that we've broken above that level before we could place our trade. If you place a limit order in there and the market runs away from you, what often happens is you come down on a false breakout and you basically just stop out for no reason. So the logic in the EA says if we are not down here somewhere low enough, we won't take that trade. So today's an example of when it would have been better not to have that rule, but my testing shows that that rule is there for a reason and it is more profitable that way. Broken long on the Dow. Nasdaq's approaching my partial level. So 3 minutes to go on this candle. So Dow Jones, we have got obviously upside. So that is your upside high, which will be the resistance all-time high. I mean, if these guys are going for it today, that's probably not going to hold and we'll just fly. But we'll see when we get there. It's a long way off as well. So from the lower day up to there is 288. Well, yeah, it's not far, is it? That's reachable. Actually, that's not lower day, is it? That's lower day. So up to that high is 360 points, with 465 being the average daily range. So that's easily achievable as well. Oh, it's not even the high, actually, is it? The high is just above that weekly. So plenty of room. We've got loads of room. Don't pull back from the highs. Euro pound, got 5 positions on short. That's from back here, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we're just waiting for a pullback. So structure's shifted back down to the downside now. So that should be easily achievable. 125 ADR. Should be able to get back down into this accumulation, basically. And then here will either sort of act as a support around here. Somewhere around there, you get support. Or and then we'll obviously continue to the upside up to test this high. Or that is the end of the road, and we're going to start to come back down and fill these propulsion gaps to the downside. So there's no reason to be aggressively long on the euro at the moment. Lagarde is freezing interest rates this week, as she said she was going to. It's very, very unusual for the Europeans to do anything other than forecast. So we should see a freeze in interest rates. So it's really going to be this week about, on Thursday, what happens in the ECB press conference at 1:45. If she comes out bearish there, as in inflation is right, it's doing the right thing, and we will see potentially that dropping, then there may be a case for dropping interest rates below 2%. If that's the case, the euro is going to collapse. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on Thursday. But there's nothing that says the pound should be massively weaker or stronger than the euro, and the same for the euro. So the only reason really for this at the moment is that. So we're having to do more bond purchases to pay for stuff, basically, because Trump's decided not to pay for Ukraine anymore. So that was what that was. That is quite an aggressive takeoff from where we returned to, which was the origin of that move. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't come back down here. There's no reason for this massive strength here. If you look at the other euro pairs, yeah, you've got a slight incline against the Aussie. The yen, we're off, but that's because of yen weakness. Against the New Zealand dollar, slight improvement. That was a negative CPI we've just had, but slight strength there. Euro US dollar, strong because the euro's been weak, but look at the last week with that US dollar coming up. So we have got a slight bit of strength in the euro, but it's not massive. There's no reason for it to be particularly strong. It's flatlined against the Swiss franc, been winning against the CAD, obviously, because the US was weak, but that's all starting to strengthen up now. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be looking back down here in the next week or two. But I mean, depending on what happens on Thursday, you could be down here on Thursday. Yeah. Unlikely you'd be up there unless Lagarde comes out and says inflation's going up and forecast to go up way more than we thought. So we're not going to freeze the interest rates. We're going to go up to 2.35 again. Then we're taking off. But the chances of that happening are tiny. Not happening. So yeah, we'll wait and see Thursday, but it's weakened. Right. Still breaking long. Aha, I have a trade on the S&P. Do I really want a trade on the S&P all the way up there? Talk about buying at the wrong time. That is the 30-minute ORB, though. It's just a hell of a big candle. That's the 30-minute range. That's more like what I would expect, not that, but it is all-time highs, so you can't really tell what's going to happen. Just deciding what to do. Dow is still gapping up. There's a lot of strength today. But that's extended, properly extended, isn't it? I'm just looking at all these propulsion gap targets to the downside. So, we see the strength, but that cannot continue forever. So, we are going to weaken at some point. I'm going to take a partial on the NASDAQ here, regardless of wherever that candle closes in the next 1 minute. That is going to bank me, at least get something in the bank today. God, it's tricky today, isn't it? I hate it when it's parabolic like this because you just know that there's going to be a very fast profit take. As soon as the market sees some weakness, they will take profit on whatever they've got in the bank here, and you get that very, very quick pullback. Then they add more. So you want to buy on a pullback into these areas here if we get there. But might be wrong. Might be absolutely parabolic today, and we're just not going to let up, which would be nice. So glad I got out of the DAX. Well, I'm not out of the DAX. I'm still in the DAX. Might as well just close the DAX, to be honest, because it's going parabolic. I'm going to close that long up there as well. I don't want that. FTSE, right decision to get out of the FTSE. Okay, partial taken, break even stop. So up 500. Can't lose anything on that one. Stops really nice distance away. So we've got this double propulsion gap here. Sorry, not there. There. This whole move here is one massive propulsion move. And obviously, if that candle closes anywhere up here, that is part of that propulsion move as well. So our stop on the Dow is way behind all of this massive buying pressure. So that stop is fairly safe, unless this is a false breakout. If it's a false breakout, obviously we're going to collapse back down again. But that's pretty safe where it is. This is the one that worries me because we've taken a break after 30 minutes of non-stop buying. The market is going to want to pull back at some point. And this is exactly where I would expect them to pull back into to get some momentum for a new leg higher. So that's going to stop out, which is slightly annoying because that would take me back to negative territory for the day. But saying that, strong, isn't it? We'll see. What's everybody else's thoughts? That's a parabolic move, but you go back and look at big, strong moves like this at the open. We had one there which did carry on for the whole day, but that open pullback, yeah, that's not an open there. We had like a good hour drop there, and then we pulled back. So it's unusual for the market to be able to open really strong without pulling back at least 50% of the move. Usually, you at least pull back halfway before you start a new leg. Trouble at the moment with these today is obviously because of the speed of this movement, a 50% pullback is a stop out. But I would kind of like to make up for that little loss that I had last week, which would be nice to get rid of. Shouldn't really chase losses. Right. Anybody got any other things I want to look at from an FX perspective? Taking my first lot short on the S&P. It cannot keep going without a retrace. That's what they all say. You'll be surprised how far this thing can go without a retrace. Unusual, but it does happen. Don't forget we're at all-time highs on these two. So, there's the whole buy the break mentality where you see all-time highs made and they just buy the breakout into all-time highs and look for that push. If no one's stepping in here at the moment to take profit on this leg, there's no reason for the market to take profit. If there's no reason for the market to take profit, they just won't. So what you end up with is an inside bar, which then does this and turns into a flag break. Then you just pop out of wherever you get back to on a flag break. But a strong pullback would be a profit take move. Flag break is an indication of a new leg higher. So at the moment we're inside bar on the S&P. NASDAQ, we're also inside bar. There's no reason to jump ship at the minute. Dow Jones, there's a reason to jump ship. That's pulling back. But that was heavy at the open, wasn't it? Whereas these weren't. So, there's definitely not interest in longs on the Dow at the moment. But watch that propulsion gap here. Has my S&P got stuck? No, it did tick then, didn't it? This looks like it's not ticking. It is, though. Just no volume. Okay, 15 seconds. There we go. So we got inside bars. So inside bar S&P, inside bar NASDAQ. So we are starting to weaken now. So potentially a good point to start that pullback. Okay, so that's the propulsion gap filled. Just buying up the high of the previous one. See where we go. No more news so far today. Okay, so I need this propulsion gap here to hold basically on the Dow. Watching this area here, area there on the NAS. Pump and dump. Yep, could be. There's a 50-50 chance. Could be a pump and pump. I love your confidence, WDS. It will retest the breakout as a minimum. At some point, I'm scalping it. I'm scaling in at 10-point increments with a 1% of account hard stop. Could be wrong, as you say, but definitely go higher than expected. Yeah. I love the way you say it will retest the break. As if you have a crystal ball. I want to borrow it if it works. So we're looking at this area here, which is your breakout. Obviously, this is the Dow break here, which is what this propulsion gap is, but this isn't an all-time high on the Dow, so not quite the same thing. That's the propulsion gap holding. We haven't even come and retested the strength on the NASDAQ. Look, it's just gone. So potentially going for an all-time high run already on the NAS. Very strong. DAX did a similar thing this morning. Well, DAX didn't do anything this morning. DAX didn't pump and dump this morning. DAX at the open literally moved up for 10 minutes and then went nowhere. Even when you were stating the FTSE was going higher, the DAX was falling, only for it to pump higher before it fell. I just observe what I see. I go with price. Price is going up. I don't believe in the pump and dump and all this crap. There's too many market participants for one person to be able to make this thing do one thing or the other. It's just people put labels on stuff. You know, you label price action, don't you? So you can give it a name. This is pumped. If it comes back down, it's a dump. If it pumps and pumps, no one ever says, "Oh, it's going to be a pump and pump move," do they? That's a pullback. But you could say basically, "Oh, I'm going to play the pump and pump." It's called a flag break in most spaces, but you know, don't forget this is an auction. If there are more people buying than there are selling, it will go up. If there's more people selling than there are buying, it will come down. That's literally it. It's a binary market made up of participants with a binary option. It can do only one thing: go with the flow of the volume of traffic. So, you know, there's no person or algorithm pumping it and then dumping it to make money. There are participants trading. That's it. There you go, all-time highs on the NAS. But, you know, everybody's got a theory. If you're an ICT follower, you believe that he invented an algorithm to control the forex markets and sold it to the banks and then decided to make a training course on a really crap website because he didn't make enough money creating the algorithm that runs the market. There's always a theory about something, isn't there? Okay, so see what happens up here. Market's basically trying to run, obviously incredibly extended. So the danger we have here at the moment is just that you're going to run out of people willing to sell this. Yeah. So for this to push higher, we have to have participants that want to sell it. Selling up here is a mean reverter's dream. But at an all-time high, you have no reason. There are no batches of orders at any price points up here that are logical for other participants to make happen because they see them. So you get this thing up here where you just trade away. So someone says, I'll have a go at longs up here. Someone else, I'll have a go at shorts up here. Then it ticks up. And the person that was going to have a go at shorts goes, yeah, probably not yet. They've pull out. To pull out, they need to buy. So they become a buyer. And it just drives the market grinding higher and higher and higher. So you get to a point where you'll suddenly see the market will just go like that. And you'll lose 50% of that move in 5 minutes. And that is the profit take. That's the dump, if you like. But basically, all it is the participants like me who are sitting here in profit, we are just going, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And they will all start to press the button. The more people press the button, the more people see the button press, the more people then press the button. They then see more people pressing it, so more people press it. And it's that cascade effect that causes those profit take legs. Like this. But if we're going long today and the market wants to continue a breakout, this is exactly where they will add. Yeah, so this is where they bought today. If they are still in the market, they are still long, they will add more to their position to protect their position at this point. And that's when we're going to make a new high leg. The fact that this is not dropping yet kind of indicates that that might be the case, but we'll see. Here's a 50-50 shot. Oh my God, not that ICT dog poop. No. There was a point in time, I think, where I probably read that or watched the video or listened to him talk about the interbank price delivery algorithm that he created. And I thought, wow, probably for a split second. And then I went, that can't be true. But there's so many people that still believe all that crap. But why wouldn't you? If you're new, you believe what you see. Some of the things that my kids believe in, I see them watch on YouTube. I'm like, that's not real. It's like, what do you mean it's not real? It's like, what do you mean it could be real? There's a pig flying across the sky. You're saying to me that a scientist has crossed a pig with an eagle and now he's got a flying pig? Are you stupid? Oh, look, it's working. I said, yeah, I can create that with AI as well. We've now got AI to make things like that. People riding crocodiles through lakes that turn into helicopters and fly off. But our kids don't know anything different, do they? That's real to them. When you're a new trader and YouTube's just come out and you're like, oh, wow, we can learn for free on the internet, watching videos, you believe what you see. There was a point in time where I thought, maybe he's got something. And then I spoke to someone in a bank. Okay, propulsion's holding on the Dow at the moment. We are also holding NASDAQ, higher high, higher low, inside bar S&P. So this does look like a flag break. Looks like we are holding to go higher, but I would question as to how much higher we could get today. Never know. I wonder what your mean reversion will say on the indices. My mean reversion? What do you mean? I don't have a mean reversion. Mean reversion is just a strategy for entering to trade back to the mean of the move. So all you're doing is you're selling breakouts, you're selling highs, you're selling extensions on indicators. Pound US dollars just hit ADR. ADR on pound US. So we've got a very weak US today by the looks of things. Which again helps. Don't believe I just did that. You idiot. Oh my God. We're going to have to put the position trader EA back on there. Yeah, so US dollars very weak today. which is a reason why obviously you get moves higher on the indices. What do I want to do? ADR reversal indicator. Oh my God, everything's set to defaults. I haven't closed that down for such a long time. I just need to check all my indicators and everything. It's 10, that's fine. 21, that's fine. So NASDAQ, RSI on the hourly getting up into, we're all-time highs now, getting up into the 70 area. 15-minute is extended above 70. S&P, we're up there. Dow, we're nowhere near. But I mean, the RSI for shorts on indices, the RSI is useless. Euro Swiss 125 ADR. Looks like they're selling the Swiss franc off at the moment. Aussie dollar Swiss running against CAD Swiss, pushing up slightly. Pound Swiss pushing up. So we've got a bit of weakness coming on the Swiss franc. Okay, all-time highs gone on the NAS. I can't believe we're going to make it all the way up there today. I'm just going to drag my stop up. I'm just reducing risk down to 300. So I'm just taking 50% of the risk off. Just can't believe that we're going to rally this hard with that much of a pullback. So I'm just going to reduce risk. I'm going to do the same on the NASDAQ. I'm just going to lock in more profit on there. So I've just locked in there 200. That stop there is 300. So the sum of these two together is negative 100. And I've got a Dow break. And obviously banked 518 today. So if this does suddenly, what I'm worried about is a sudden collapse, basically just a massive profit take on that leg. There's no point in taking a full stop out on it or taking a tiny amount of profit on it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So just going to make sure that I don't lose much on it. And then obviously the Dow looks like it's going for a new high, but obviously the Dow would then become a stop out, which basically means I'll be a couple of $100 down. But if this rallies today, we're on for a like 3 to 4K day. I just can't believe it's going to go all that way without a pullback of some kind. But market does what the market does, doesn't it? New highs on the S&P. So Dow has just closed at new highs. Just struggling up here. So 50% of that last 5 minutes was sellers. So we are starting to stall out. In fact, I want to see strength here. So I want to see a propulsion gap go in. If I don't get a propulsion gap on this, I want to stop out of it, basically. So what I'm saying is if we come back down and we close below, or we sort of start testing this area down here, I'm going to jump ship on the S&P. It's too extended. You're taking a breakout after the breakout has happened. This is the time we will look for pullbacks, and then jump back in on the new leg up. So I just don't trust this. There's no risk in it. There's literally that much risk. It's irrelevant. Either goes or it doesn't. new lows gone in on all US pairs. New highs on the crosses against the US. Euro US dollar new high of the day. Canadian dollar the same. So we've got weakness in the US markets. Canadian dollar struggling as well as the US. And we're in extreme greed out highs. So could be a big day today. Big bull run. #21st. So pre-market tomorrow, we've got Coca-Cola, General Electric's Aerospace, General Motors and PMI. No reason for the market to be rallying into this today. So it's just a run on the all-time highs. There's no real fundamentals behind this from earnings or anything. So just go with it. Okay, all-time high, new high of the day on the Dow. That's the breakout to the downside from Friday. So if we are still short in the market, that is where your sellers are going to step in. So that's basically what's happened today. We pushed up into this sell order. Obviously, they added more size in, but there's more buyers today than there are sellers. So we've broken that high. So the sellers are going to try and stay short at this area. If that breaks, we're then going to come up and test this area here, which is your highs from Friday. That's your high of the week. There. So this area here is where we're headed to if they don't drive price back down from here. So obviously that's the origin of that downward leg that broke that low. So anywhere in here, really, we could find sellers, but if they're not adding in here, I suspect we'll probably come back up and test this area here, especially if these guys keep rallying, which they are at the minute. Nasdaq's trying for new highs again. New highs on the S&P. Dow Jones struggling again, look. Really odd price action today. This is so out of tune, the Dow, with the other indices at the moment. The Dow's always been out of tune with these, but like at the moment really is out of tune. Last week I managed to go short on the Dow and long on one of those two. I can't remember which one it was. Both of them got to target. One that way, one that way. So very, very different movement on industrial stocks at the moment. S&P all-time highs. NASDAQ all-time highs by literally a tick. Okay, so I'm just going to lock that in now. So I can't lose on the S&P. That is literally the entire session, apart from 5 minutes where we're bull. I can't believe this is not going to drop hard in a minute. But every time you say something, the market goes, no, I can do that. It proves you wrong more than it proves you right. Just going to lock a little bit more in on my NASDAQ. If I can get up to 2.5K, I'm going to call it today. Because it's just, I get the feeling this is going to pull back. So if I can get to 2.5K, I'm going to pull most of this off and then just basically leave a runner on. But it's not all that's going to happen. This trailer will move up ever so slightly, and then it'll get taken out here instead of here. The difference between that and that is virtually no money. So it's better just to take the cash today, I think, when it's given to you on a plate. Okay, Dow is attempting new highs. Struggling. Fairly big order came in across all the markets there. You saw all of those suddenly dropped at the same time there. So that's an example of a sector purchase coming in, usually that is, where you just get a large order across multiple markets coming in and everything sort of dips at once. Struggling. It just feels like any minute now it's going to pop in it. I'm going to take partials on both of those. I just got the feeling this is going to turn into like one of those days where you suddenly are up $2,000 and then you're suddenly up 600. I'd rather be up $2,000 today because this is not convincing price action on the Dow here. We got in these last sort of 3 out of 5 attempts to go higher, we got very big upside rejection in this propulsion gap. So this big blue area here obviously is the sell from Friday. So this is where the sellers were sitting on Friday, driving that big, strong move back down to the downside on the industrial stocks. It's not able to get through there at the moment today, even with these two making all-time highs. This is just not getting there. So there you go. Look, it's coming all the way back down now. So I'm going to take a partial on that. Might even just have to close it out at no profit because I don't even think I'm going to get a partial on it. Coming down too quick. Same with the S&P. Out the Dow. It's not going anywhere. Pulling back on the S&P, we've got a higher high and a higher low in there. But again, I just don't want to lose the money. So I'm just going to take, I'm not going to lose anything on it, am I? That gives me 270. So that gives me 6, 7, 8, 900. Really tricky to know what to do today. What have we done? 330. ADR is 542. So from low of the day, we've done 440. That would be 470. Okay. So I'm going to put my partial there. So that move there from the low of Globex to where my partial is, which is 63.47. That is about 30 points shy of ADR. So if this does not pull back from here and gets to ADR today, I will take a partial on that. Otherwise, I'll take a break even. I just can't believe this is going to just leg up like this from there. But it's proven me wrong so far. Dow, I'm just not happy with those rejections up there. It could well go, but also it could just reject from that level. It's a logical area not to be able to get through. So these are the selling. That's the big sell at the open on Friday. Everybody that is still short on this is going to want to sell this off. So makes total sense. There's no point in taking a stop out on that when we're getting confirmed price action there at the moment that it wants to go short. If it breaks up through that level, fine. But at the moment, there's three big candles there and wicks telling me that's not going to happen at the moment. We are stalling out on the NASDAQ. We got spinning top going in. So this is potentially starting to be a 3-bar reversal. We've got outside bar formation, which is indecision, bearish indecision on the S&P. So just feels like this is starting to roll over the top. Might continue, but take the money. I will hang my head in shame, never to return if there is not some profit taking on the US indices. There will be, because they have to survive. They will take profit on these. Don't worry. I just don't know when it's coming at the moment. It will happen. I'm taking profit. Added second lot too early. Worst case, I lose 1%. Yeah, that's fine. As long as you've got a worst case scenario that is less than your best case scenario, which is winning, you'll be fine. Positive R, trading indices, trading anything short-term, 5-minute time frames is all about positive R. So that was my long, that was my stop, that was my target, that is bigger than that. Therefore, if I can do that 50% of the time, I make money. That's it. It's all it's about. You cannot predict when, you cannot predict where. All you can do is wrap risk around price and hope that it goes in your direction. You've got a 50-50 shot of that happening every single day. So you go long, it will either do that or it won't. You say when you get out, make sure that is bigger than that. That's it. That's trading. Simplest term. That is all you've got. But days like this, it's just unfortunate we didn't get in on that. That was one of those instances where, you know, this is what I did in backtesting. This is why I do what I do with backtesting. I do system parameter permutation testing to death. I tested the live, a lot of it, the open, where you get a big strong move that closes right at the high of the candle, called a strong close candle. And the vast majority of the time, you don't get that order on. So price pushes above that area, it jumps above that area, it spreads above that area. And by the time the EA or you, even as a human being, have managed to press that button to place an order in the market, it's gone. Yeah. So what it does is it goes off without you, and then it comes back and it triggers your order, stops you out, and then carries on. Yeah. That's what happens in the vast majority of cases where you have price action this strong, where it gaps up and it gaps up and it gaps up and it gaps up. Normally, when you've got that type of market and you place a limit order, you will stop out on it. Every now and again, you'll get a day like this where it does the opposite. But this is a minority, which is why that rule is there, because you work with the majority. You work with the edge. If you work on the minority, you're never going to make money. So today's one of those cases where you're just thinking, oh, I wish I didn't have that rule, because that is all profit if that rule wasn't in place, because it's the same trade as that. In fact, there as well, wasn't it? We had that on the NASDAQ. Was that actually the range? Yeah, so this NASDAQ trade here, that would have been the 5-minute ORB, which was over that. So that would have been the entry long. I happened to get it there. So we lost that much profit today. But in fact, if I'd have taken the trade from there, as soon as I'd seen that down candle come in, inside bar, I probably would have moved to a partial there anyway. So if you look at what I actually made from there to there, and then look at the distance between there and where that closed out, probably wouldn't have made any different money. I still would have taken a partial on that. After a parabolic move like that, when you see some bear action coming in, you're expecting a pullback long, aren't you? There we go. So we're rolling over now. There's your 3-bar reversal. It's a weak 3-bar reversal. So you've got to push. Can't draw. There's your push. Pause. Pull. So that close there is above that low, which makes it a weak 3-bar reversal. If that close was below that low, it would be a strong 3-bar reversal. High, lower than the previous high. So push, pause. So it's basically the market running out of buyers, able to sell to people, or rather sellers taking the other side of the buyer's orders, and then the buyer's going, fine, I'll take the profit. Basically just roll back down. Or not in this case. Yeah, this is a massively strong market today, so this could carry on all day. But you can only go with what you see, don't you? This is what trading's about. What I've seen unfolding in front of my eyes for years and years and years is the majority. So the majority of the time this pulls back. Sometimes it doesn't. I've seen it go parabolic and not stop all day. If you look at the hourly time frame on some bull days, especially on the NASDAQ, you get days where you get like this. So you got, there's the open, 4 hours, solid parabolic, not a pullback in sight. Yeah. You get days like this where it just goes parabolic. There's your pullback, more parabolic. Yeah. But the vast majority of the days are like that, where you push, pull back and push. Yeah. It's very rare to get a day where you just go like that, solid all day long. Yeah, they do happen, but not anywhere near as much as a normal profit take. Market structure is buying, taking profit, adding to the buys, taking profit, adding to the buys, taking profit. It's what creates market structure. And this is why everybody thinks moving averages are what props up the market, because your moving average is obviously going to come in underneath wherever the pullbacks are. Everybody believes these are the things that market price bounces off of. They're a good guide, but we covered that this morning as well. Moving averages, love them. Okay, Dow's trying for new all-time highs again out of that propulsion move. A little bit premature with the exit on that one, but S&P trying to buy back again for a new leg up. Dow, NASDAQ rather, not able to hold at the moment. Okay, we'll see where we go today. But yeah, so I'm holding this S&P long, stop loss to break even. So if this does either just flag for a few hours, ready for a long, or it just pulls back for a retest long, I'll be out of that with no loss. Dow Jones trailing stop, NASDAQ trailing stops kicked in, profits locked in. So again, same thing. If we flag for an hour or so, I'll stop out in profit. If we pull back, stop out in profit. I'm out of that. It's just not conducive to making money, that price action. So we'll see what happens. There we go. That's the day. Guaranteed 650. 850, 900, because that's guaranteed lock-in. That is what it's going to be. So if that rallies today, we could be looking at a 3K day, but I'll just let the EA manage that. Good afternoon, Pot DJ. I thought you'd already said good afternoon. Were you not here earlier? No, you weren't. Good afternoon. From wherever that is. Jamaica? I'm not very good with flags. If my son was here, he would go, that's not Jamaica. That's because that's what he does. He knows every flag under the sun, every capital city on the planet. He knows everything about geography. Whereas me, I look at flags and go, black, green, and red. Bit of yellow in there. It's about as far as my education goes in geography. Didn't do it. Right, I'll leave you here. I'm back on Thursday. No, I'm back on Wednesday morning for the members stream. Back Wednesday afternoon, we'll be trading the US indices as normal, and then obviously back Friday as usual as well. So up to you what you do with these today. It looks to me like we are really starting to flag. We're starting to run out of steam at all-time highs. So I think the market wants to breathe a little bit, pull back, and then get a run up for another leg potentially this afternoon. So I would be looking, if you want to get into something this afternoon, looking for nice deep pullbacks into the weekly highs here. Or you know, these propulsion gaps today are just one massive propulsion move, aren't they? So trying to pick a pullback in this, you've literally got to go with price action. Drop down to lower time frames, use the market reversal alerts indicator. There's another good option. So drop down M1. Yeah. Wait for a reversal alert to come in that direction. And you know, see if you can time an entry, but keep the stops tight on it because your target is always going to be all-time high today. So if this pulls all the way back down into here, you get a reversal alert. Yeah. Stop loss there, tiny little stop. Target is that. Yeah, worst case scenario, we're looking for a double top rejection at all-time highs. Best case scenario, you're going to be out of those highs. So always, when you're all-time highs, target the all-time high. But look at that is your optimal area today. That's exactly where I'd be looking for longs on 1 minute. It may not have the strength to get down there. Stopping out by the looks of things. No, not stopping out, but yeah, not getting anywhere. New low just gone in on the NAS for the last half an hour. Right, I'll leave you there. I'll be back on Friday, Wednesday, Monday. I'll be back on Wednesday, member stream. We'll hopefully be going through a new website and some information on that. Wednesday afternoon, back for the US indices again, as usual. Good luck with this afternoon. If I don't see you before, have a good day. I'll be in Discord or Telegram if you need me. Have a good one.